during retirement and stuff, just nice and quiet, but
I'm trying to remember their name, but they lived on Second Street, kind of catty corner from Nancy Stacy. It was the house where they subdivided all the lots up and sold them off.
so,
They-
mall, healing.
No,
Richard Young.
it's like the colonial house that now has a pool, and there's still an empty lot behind that they sold off,
Oh, Victor?
is next to Victor.
Oh. I don't know.
They moved to
You said
Oxford.
Nancy was on her way?
Okay, she decided to come in.
Oh, sorry. It just took an extra minute. I'm just computer trouble today.
It's good. So anyway, my husband's company is up on the highway, and it was always like the sneak up New Road and back. Like, it was just great where we live.
Yeah.
Recording
That's
stopped.
changed, Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we were on mute.
I'm not saying anything now. We're fine.
No, but
Yes, thank you.
I tend to put us on mute until we actually get going.
But just there's a lot of construction going on out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. All the way, but in town too. I guess
Pilot Town Road, John?
no, well, we've got that on the way here, so I'd actually cut up through Pilot Town to get over here. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be sitting there a long time. Nancy may have been the only unobstructed person. Nancy, I'm still in your chair. Would you like your chair back?
Sorry about that.
Please, you're the chairperson. Shouldn't you have the gavel and the,
Hot seat?
We never use the gavel.
that's true.
Well, unless today's going to be different. I
think I'm
don't know
gonna
if you
use
guys
it.
feel like.
Finish it with a bang, right?
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Are we on?
We're on.
We've
We're just
been-
muted at the moment.
Okay.
Tom's just coming in
Yeah,
now.
Let me just,
I have to continue wearing a mask because I'm in the middle of, I found out I have some kind of rare immune. Yeah, now's the time to find out,
You're
right?
vulnerable.
Well, I don't know. I see the immunologist next week in New York City because we don't have any immunologists down here apparently, but.
Well, I'm happy to go get a mask if you.
No, as long as I'm wearing mine, I'm fine.
I have a mask. Are you
I
sure?
have one in
No.
my pocket, yes.
No,
Yeah, none of us.
no.
And I haven't left the house.
You know.
I feel like I've had no reason.
It's like,
to leave the house.
none of these doctors can agree on what it means.
Why am I, okay, I'm trying
I
to.
feel
check
like
my
we've been
phone.
through this before, though, with the
You know. Okay, should we
Yep.
call the meeting to order? And, okay, oh, there's Tom. So I was thinking, wait, we're short one person. There you are, Tom, great.
Good morning.
So.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Welcome back, everyone. Last meeting before we take this baby to the Planning Commission for their review. And we left our last meeting with two main things kind of hanging out there that we've now heard back on. I wonder if we can put up on the screen, will you share, Janelle? What? Or do you want Tom to?
If Tom can, just let me give you permission, Tom.
Okay,
Tom, I thought we would go through the two things you sent out.
Okay, you should be good to go, Tom.
I did not receive this for some reason.
Oh,
Sent out when?
I sent it out.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Charlie
Charlie
sent-
can-
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Charlie, do you want to,
But I think,
if Tom puts them
and
up.
then Tom and I had some issues with PDF stuff. Were you able to incorporate that into the document, Tom? I know,
for the most part, there's a few lines on the last part that I was still working on, but
Yeah, okay.
I think it's good enough for discussion. Can you see my screen?
yep,
It's not very long, so the fact that you haven't seen it or read it, if we, as a group, can read it through together.
Great.
I think that would be good.
basically 3 sentences.
Yeah, exactly.
Charlie, what pages were?
So start on page 57. I know the page things are weird, but
Okay,
it's in the street section of the code.
this section changed here.
I wish that helped.
That was the last time, Tom.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I just got
57?
new glasses. I'm like, I should be able to see.
And I didn't go through to check that all the things we made, the changes we made at the last meeting got kind of baked in. Have you done that, Charlie, or Tom has?
Yeah, we had talked about the ones that we needed to talk about. The
Yeah.
other ones were grammatical.
Yeah.
So I think we're good on all those others.
Okay. You might have a better time seeing it behind.
Yeah, I think I might do that.
Close up.
Yeah.
Is that it, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Big
was
tag.
the discussion we had about where interconnectivity between an existing street and the new subdivision. So I changed the language up. I can read it to you. The minimum width of right-of-way and paving where a proposed subdivision intersects with an existing street shall not be less than the existing street right-of-way and paving widths. The right-of-way and paving width transitions to the proposed subdivision shall be reviewed by the city engineer. The right-of-way and paving widths for the remainder of the proposed subdivision shall not be less than the following, and then it goes into our whole chart
Right.
of widths and right-of-way widths and curbs and stuff.
So does this mean that where we have okay, within the subdivision, we've reduced the overall width required, right? So when we have something interconnecting in, at the point of interconnection with the subdivision, it has to be just as wide?
Yes.
And then it narrows down
Yeah.
inside the subdivision?
And then that transition, the
It
city
transitions
engineer will
inside the
review.
subdivision.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
we have any, is there any regulation on how quickly it transitions?
No, I don't want to.
You don't want to micro it? Okay, but
Yeah.
you would do say it's up to the city engineer?
Yeah, I'll review that.
Because we obviously don't want it like, where people were gonna, come in and hit that
Yeah.
curb.
And really, depending on the existing right-of-way and street width, the transition length would vary.
Right.
If it's a wider, it would take longer to transition. If
Right.
it's more narrow, it would take less time to
I
transition.
wonder if we could add like a modifying word, like, where is it right here? About the transition,
The right-of-way and paving width transitions to
How
the
about smoothly?
smoothly, gently,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. That's exactly what I was thinking, Joe,
Yeah.
something to that effect. Which I know,
Appropriately.
yeah. Safely,
The right-of-way and paving width,
shall be
and,
safe. To this proposed subdivision shall be safe and reviewed by the city engineer.
shall be smooth, safe, and reviewed by,
or smoothly transitioned.
or shall smoothly
yeah, I mean,
transition and be
Or there just
reviewed
should be an
by.
appropriate transition approved by the city engineer.
Approved by, exactly,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, reviewed and approved, that's.
yeah.
yeah.
Reviewed and
exactly.
approved by,
Yeah, we don't
It's
have
the
a,
appropriate transitions should be reviewed and approved by the city
Yeah.
engineer, because that way then, you know,
it won't be one of those harsh angles going in, because
Yeah.
it needs to be a gentle transition
yeah,
going from the wider street to the narrower
Yeah.
street,
I just hate to put things like smooth in there
because it's not measurable.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
the
Okay.
appropriate
Appropriate is
gives you a little bit more flexibility, and it's the appropriate one
Based on what?
based on the engineer's
Opinion, yeah.
determination.
Gotcha, okay. All right.
but I think it should also say, it should say reviewed and, yeah, you've got the approved in,
Definitely, I
okay,
like that,
because
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
I don't want them to say, oh, yeah, we've.
This cannot be up
reviewed
to
it.
anybody but the city
We disagree
engineer.
with them, and we're
Yeah.
moving forward.
Charlie, what
And you're
about-
never allowed to retire.
Yeah. That's-
I've got people waiting in the wings to take my position.
Charlie, what about sidewalks? I mean, if we're putting sidewalks on one side of the street, we're merging with another, hopefully they'll be on the same side of the street when they merge, you know? But, or the same width.
Yeah, I mean, we could mention sidewalks. I kind of feel when you say right of way, it includes everything
Includes
inside.
everything.
The new,
inside
the
the
new,
right
the
of
new
way.
work, okay.
And the sidewalks are so tough, because we have so many examples throughout the city of the sidewalks and bike trails, and throughout the county,
Yeah.
to nowhere.
Well, that's a
dead
good point.
ending.
If you say sidewalks, then you gotta say shared use path, and you
Yes,
gotta,
and I think
Ah.
you've
And
got
right, and there's gotta be
Could-
interconnectivity to
could-
another.
Just right of way covers all of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Can of worms, okay.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay, and then the other one was page 60, I think, Tom, at the very end.
So this is pretty big. This is where it starts,
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, and we had reviewed all that about,
let's look at the, because we want to see starting at the top here, I think, yeah. So,
We were
it was the top number of years we were concerned
We
about.
were concerned that what if a development never reached the 40% range? So I added a number, 9. Keep going, Tom.
I didn't get that typed in yet, Charlie.
Oh,
because I was
okay.
Okay,
Looking at the formatting.
Yeah, okay,
But
sorry.
You have a copy.
Yeah, I got it right here.
I think I have a copy of your email, too.
So we can do that right
can
now?
you read that now?
Yeah, I can
and
read
you
it.
can-
So this was dealing with the concern we had that if a development didn't reach 40% occupancy, what
Yes.
number of years would it fall into? So I said in the case where the certificate of occupancy percentage does not reach 40% within 2 years from conditional acceptance by the city, the pavement top coat must be installed within 4 years from the conditional acceptance date. So we had talked about 6, but I felt like there was some concern from the committee that 6
Yeah.
was too long, so I made it
Yes.
4, so that's something we might want
Yeah.
to think about. And then I continued, if the certificate of occupancy percentage becomes greater than 40% within that 4-year time frame, the schedule described above shall take effect,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So it might be less than 40.
Yes.
And we'll say, hey, it's got to be paved within 4 years, but then all of a sudden.
And then suddenly it's 90 and.
Yeah. So we would want to pave within a year or whatever
Yeah.
that
Right.
schedule
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, I think that was wise to put that in
Yeah.
that way.
That
And I
sounds good.
think,
Do we want to go to 6 or do we want to go to 5?
He said 4.
Okay, so go back to the 4 as the city has the 4.
I'm kind of like you, I thought 6 was just like way too
Too
long.
long.
Way too
Yeah.
long.
Too long.
yeah.
Imagine what that actually looks like, 6 years of an unpaved, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
long time, because the manholes are usually sitting up. and
Exactly.
That's a lo- And it's just, no, it's not appropriate
Still
for
floppy.
city local.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, usually we make them.
Kids riding bikes on the street, hit those things and.
They like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of things on my
Oh,
street.
that's the mother in me, broken arms is what I see.
I know.
I won't tell you what we see during snowstorms on my part of the.
So then I can't remember whether we talked about this the last time or not, but I did add number 10, might have been in there before. The developer shall provide a maintenance bond for the full value of the replacement cost of the surface course of paving, and the maintenance bond shall be effective upon final acceptance of the surface course of paving for a period of 3 years. Which we talk about that in another
Yes.
section, but I wanted to reemphasize it here where we're talking about the top coat being completed,
So when you say 3, that's 3 years from what?
final acceptance. Of the surface course, not the project.
That's final acceptance of the surface that's been
Yeah,
put down?
That's what I put in there.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, just top surface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that could come sometime after final acceptance of the actual
Right,
development.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure it's final acceptance of that and not of the development, because they could lose their bond before they've actually even put the top surface on then,
Yeah.
potentially. Yeah.
So those are the items I think
Okay.
we had as a result of our last meeting. I don't think there was anything else. Can you recall anything, Tom or Janelle? Other sections of the code that we were talking about? I thought those were the only
No,
ones.
those are the only
No, it
two
was
I
mostly
had down.
grammatical typos and
Yeah.
things. The other
Yeah,
ones.
I think we've got it all. And then Janelle, you were putting it into the format?
Yeah, I'm still working on that, and then I went through and found the sections of code in 197. So there's a couple of sections, I just can't share it at the moment. But it's 19750, which is the cluster development. That's where the wetlands buffer references a specific chapter in 170, so that number needs to be updated. And that's in a couple of different portions. Couple of different portions in 19757, which is H Park, and that's, again, it references a section back in, it references a certain article. So we just need to update that. There's an appeal for historic properties, because there's a an exception. That says, historic, 19758, historic district or properties review process, letter L, appeals. So that any person aggrieved by decision rendered by H Park except pursuant to 17037G, so we just have to find that section, put in the new section. So we're not getting rid of anything, we're just updating. And then 19777, permanent stormwater management, 19779, streets and roads, 19780, water supply and distribution, 19781, sewage collection disposal. They're all referenced in the zoning code that references back to the subdivision code, so we just need to make sure the correct article
Is referenced.
in correct. So we get all of those, and again, the same for electric and other utilities, so 197, 82, and 83, it's just really just cleaning up and going, making sure wherever the reference there, that number gets updated. There were a couple of sections, it just references 197, it just references 170, so those changes don't need to be made. And then I think I was looking at the definitions, just making sure if there's any definitions that need to get into the zoning code that are in the subdivision code.
Now, we had a long discussion about trees and the differences between the two sections of the code. Have we looked at whether there's anything we need to, because we are now defining street trees versus, did we put that in? I can't remember.
I think we looked at something else, because we went round and round about
Yeah.
About the street trees
those
on the.
comments.
But I think we probably need to make sure we look at the reference.
Yep, and 177.
Yes.
Can we throw it up? Is that, and take one last look? Is that?
Because I know I went through like everything, and I didn't see where it referenced.
I don't think it references it, but I think we're using the words perhaps differently.
And yeah, because street trees in 177 is the trees and shrubs on public land lying between the curb and sidewalk of all streets, avenues, or alleys within city limits. That's what a street tree is. And Tom, do you have our definition? Because I don't think we called it street trees, because there was a concern about
Yeah.
it being street tree.
I just want to make sure we're not conflicting with it. When I looked at it earlier, there wasn't a reference to it, but it's whether we're using,
Yeah, we got rid of street trees using it in the ordinance. We just called it trees.
Okay.
And then we said trees within a street when it was appropriate.
okay.
But we didn't use the term street tree.
And,
We got rid of where
Under
we said
the
street trees.
definitions, do we have a definition?
Let me see. I don't believe so,
Okay.
Street trees.
but I'll double check.
Or tree even, I don't know. Is it a shrub or is it a tree?
In my mind's eye, I have a picture of a tree.
So
We don't have
177.
street tree, and we don't have tree in
Sorry,
the subdivision
could you repeat that
definition.
again? Tom, I didn't hear you.
We don't, in chapter 170, we don't have a definition for either street tree or tree.
Okay, okay.
We're just using it as the general terminology in the ordinance. But in 177, I think it describes street trees.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, I think Janelle just read that.
yep, and they have a definition of a small tree, a medium tree, and a large tree.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Just not a
A lot of what we
and
did
a
in
park
the
tree.
ordinance was reference back to 177.
Right.
Because we didn't want to conflict with it.
Okay. We're good then, I think.
I think so.
I'm trying to think of exceptions.
77.
What's an
Yeah.
exception, like a crepe myrtle?
177 is trees,
It's
is
a tree.
trees.
A crepe myrtle
Is
is a
a tree,
tree.
yeah.
I thought it was a
It's
tree, but
both.
it wasn't quite.
They've
It's a tree
planted
or a
them.
shrub.
It's
Or
a, it's a
magnolias, both.
multi-stem
Tree.
tree, but or shrub, but it can, if you let it grow, it ends up being tall like a tree. If you keep it cut and pruned, it functions as a shrub. So it's just a multi-stem plant that can
There's
do
different
both.
varieties, that some are very small,
Yes.
and some can get up to 30, 35 feet.
Yeah,
Others
there's
stay
That
at
would
like
be
10.
what's in my side yard.
Yes.
Me too.
My house, it's a very
I
tall,
don't want
great
to
farm.
Taller than our
Yeah.
roof, I think, yeah.
There's street trees on the screen from
Okay, there we go.
177.
So we've revisited the two that we said we needed to look at. Janelle, when will we have the list for us to look at of the things that have to be updated? And when will we have the code put into the format that's required with, line numbers, et cetera?
By Friday, because I need to post the packet by Friday, because the agenda gets posted Wednesday.
See, I need it before
You
then.
need it before that.
to do my crosswalk and to correct the documents I have.
Okay,
I
so,
can send out the corrected document by Wednesday morning,
Okay,
so it'll have the new page numbers in it, but Janelle, it won't have the line numbers and things that Janelle will need to do by Friday.
yeah, I
Is that
just,
soon enough, Janelle?
when are you gonna get it to me? I'm sorry.
Either tomorrow afternoon or first thing Wednesday morning. I have to leave town Wednesday morning, so.
That's
I'll have it by
fine,
then.
because that gives me time to, because again, I need it. Because again, the only thing you need, anybody needs is for next Wednesday for the planning commission meeting is the document as, that you're going to be making a recommendation on.
except we said at our last meeting, to make it easier for the planning commission to find things, I would update
True.
the table I did, And it doesn't take that long, it's just,
Okay. So if,
Is there not just, like, we don't have like a program that you just run the thing through that puts all the line numbers on it, or do
yeah,
we?
it's Word.
It's just Word,
So
yeah.
I just need a clean version to add,
Yeah.
to go to Word and
Yeah.
tell it to add line numbers. And then I'm just gonna put it like at the top, the ordinance title
Right,
and the
yeah.
exhibit.
As a header or a footer, yeah,
So things will shift
yeah,
maybe a quarter of a page,
okay.
after I get like the exhibit, the
Uh-huh.
short title, in there. And then I'll have the 197 in there as well, but that'll be at the end,
Right.
because it's just gonna be the addition.
Right now, I'm more concerned about getting the document with the line numbers on than getting your list of the things that need to be changed in other areas of the code,
Okay,
so.
so,
I should be able to get it
And
tomorrow.
I assume that should be the
morning. I'll
easiest
work on
part
it
to do,
tonight.
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
There was
okay.
Sorry.
the new section number 8 was pretty large, so it just
It,
probably
that
pushes some
shifted
page
stuff, yeah,
numbers after.
yeah.
Generic question, should we be touching base with Parks and Recreation if we are stepping foot on trees?
we already did,
Did?
we did.
With Marty
And
Thompson? Okay.
no, I actually went to Parks and Rec and gave a presentation of the draft, and then they submitted comments, and the majority of them came through Marty.
They're all through there. Okay,
Yeah,
solid. Very
so
good.
just for our committee's appreciation, so Janelle gave a presentation to them and got input from the whole group. And then when we did the workshop, Marty attended, and I'm trying to think of anyone else from,
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to.
but Marty gave extensive comments.
Okay.
And I followed up with Marty as we worked to make sure I understood all of those comments. And at our very first meeting, reviewing things after the workshop, if you'll recall, we spent a long time on trees.
Yeah, we discussed and integrated all.
And we, yes, and I invited Marty to that meeting, and she, spoke up and provided more. And then when we did the hearing, both Marty and Christine Beshy
Yeah,
were there for the hearing and had no further comments.
yeah, and other than that, I don't recall really any feedback from Parks and Rec, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a Zoom meeting with the Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
right? I watched it on Zoom.
I think I was there in person.
Okay.
I think it was, I think it was in person in Zoom before we went back to all Zoom.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I watched it on Zoom too, so I was thinking.
I know, it's like they all start to blur
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
honestly, all the
yeah.
Zoom meetings, yeah.
Yeah.
Truth.
But a lot of the comments had to do with trees and that stuff, so.
So I've got it on my calendar to
Yeah.
get you the lined version on Wednesday. So you
Fantastic.
have it, because then I will post the packet on Friday.
Okay.
And the agenda gets posted on Wednesday.
Okay.
Is there any other help that can be offered? I
And
know
I
it's a
will get
lot
my
for all
stuff
of
to you
you.
on Thursday then, so you have it well in advance of Friday, okay?
Yeah, if you need Friday morning, that's okay.
Okay, okay.
Is there other stuff on that planning commission agenda?
There will be minor subdivision, and I think that's it. We're meeting, there's a call tomorrow to discuss agenda items. There might be a few like other small things, but no, this is the big vote discussion topic, and then a minor subdivision. And then an update on the 5-year comp plan. We're having a kickoff meeting with the consultant this Friday. So,
Executive committee.
executive session is tomorrow at 6.
Yes.
There's 3 public hearings for mayor and council tonight.
Yeah.
Mayor and council meeting next week, and then planning commission next Wednesday at 6 Thursday.
If you'd like me to attend the planning commission, I can, but only virtually, because I have a meeting up this way till about 5 that night, and I wouldn't be able to get down there that soon.
This is a good question, though, is for the planning commission. I mean, I would think it would be good for both Charlie and Tom to be on hand. I'm not expecting, but you never know what to expect, so.
And we do, since initially making this available and presenting to anyone, we do have some new members. So it's
Yes,
possible to
that's
have,
true.
that we may have some questions.
Yeah, everybody was at the public hearing or was able to get information from the public hearing. And then, of course, if, it's discussion and possible recommendation to mayor and council will be the agenda item.
I feel like there's been more
I don't think-
opportunities
I don't
than
think-
usual.
Yeah, I don't think all the planning commissioners were.
I think
at the
there was
public
one
hearing.
missing, but
one
I
was
think
missing.
they
Okay.
were able to,
That they watched it afterwards, yeah.
that's my understanding.
Yeah.
So once again, Nancy, it's all going to pretty much fall on you and Janelle for doing the presentation. Can we offer any help at all?
Presentation needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, the presentation, and we have the public comment, I again have not received any public comment regarding the draft ordinance, just for your information. So it's, if there's any proposed changes that'll be, again, discussion, potential changes, maybe a question or two, and then hopefully a recommendation in the affirmative to mayor and council.
And this goes to, I don't want to presuppose it's going to mayor and city council, but, if it follows that process and goes to mayor and city council, is there a presentation to them, or do they just read this and discuss it and make their decision?
So they will hold a public hearing.
Oh, right, there's another public hearing.
Because they don't actually have to hold the public hearing on 170, but the 197 items they
Yes.
do. So they might just do it all together, just to get everything. So I anticipate that to be honestly in May, because they will schedule the public hearing. If there's a positive recommendation, they will consider it at their April meeting to schedule for May, and then hopefully they'll make a decision in May.
And they will decide on the chapter 170 and 197 issues separately?
They can. I can actually do 2 separate ordinances, and then
What do we feel would be best?
to me, cleaner is if they do all the changes together, so that nothing gets lost. But I can do 2 separate ordinances.
I'm going to defer. I'm not sure the
Yeah.
advantages.
I mean, I would think it would be cleaner too, because I would hate to find the city in the position of having approved 170 and not made the changes
Which are rather dependent on those, yeah,
in one night, you know what I mean, that you have two pieces that don't fit together then.
yeah,
Which
absolutely.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, try to keep it all together is, to me, cleaner.
Yeah,
I think in this case, because they're very interconnected, that it makes much more sense.
yeah.
Yeah, with any luck, you will have an approved ordinance in May.
We'll see. So anything else for today's meeting? I think we've covered today's agenda. I'll get things from Janelle on Wednesday. I'll turn them around to her by Friday. It'll all be posted. We'll all be there. And Tom, you can be on Zoom for the Planning Commission meeting for that agenda item. And Charlie, you'll be there.
I'll be there, yeah.
So I think we're good to go.
Super.
Anything that I'm missing?
Not according to my list.
Okay, okay. Shall we call this meeting to a close?
I
We don't have
motion
to
that
have a
we-
vote, do we?
I'm sorry?
Subcommittees, you don't have to have a vote, do you?
It's cleaner.
Thank you.
So moved.
No, I don't even think I'm on the committee.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
Terrific.
See you, Tom.
And
Bye-bye.
for a meeting where I thought we were all going to be on Zoom, we're all